So, this is in regards to preparation for the medical biochemistry course. So, these are screenshots from the syllabus, and as you can see, the midterm and the final are cumulative only for their correspond corresponding half of the material. So, the midterm that takes place on October 12th will cover the material from August 31st to the 28th, and then for the final, the that's based on the remainder of the material, and it's um, it's evident from the syllabus that it is not cumulative. So here is a customized calendar of all of the sessions. So this is August, right here, the 23rd. It's the first day of the semester. This is August. And over here, you'll see the labels of the class session. So first class session takes place on the 24th. Not much going on there, just a lot of introductory stuff, but still good to prepare well ahead of time. So everything highlighted in this blue color, down to here. All of these sessions pertain to um, what's going on with the first half of the course. So as you can see, that entails or covers August, and then all of this right here. This is September, right in this area, and then it goes a little bit into October. You go October 1st. So on the 12th is when we have midterm exam, um, the midterm exam, and that covers everything in blue. We have a review day, as you can see here. So that's why you'll see on the D2L website there are no PDFs. There's no PDF files for session 7 and session 8 because those weeks we are doing we're not covering new material. So we'll address for now just all the topics in blue, and we'll leave um, the other thing, the other material for another day, for a separate video. So going back to the PDF notes, here we go. So for session 2, it is called Introduction to Metabolism, and this is the way I've rewritten the major topics. So this is just anything that um, looks when it comes to these major topics, they'll have either bullet points. In this case, let's add some bullet points. So there will either be these arrows, or there will be these forward greater than symbols, or there will be asterisks. So session 2, PDF number 1, as you can see from this list. Session 2, PDF 1, that's called Overview of Metabolic Pathways. So when you open it up, it is, we'll skip over the session objectives for now. So anytime you see a horizontal line as a divider, that's indicative of a whole new topic. And there's another um, horizontal line. So here's another topic, carbohydrate metabolism, and so on and so forth. So that will be the initial focus. Just um, getting a very quick overview of the topics that are to be covered. So going back to this, I reworded some of the things just to make it more in theme. So in this purple highlight, you'll see a common theme: metabolism of semicolon, and then whatever is being metabolized. And you'll see that later throughout the topics. For example, here, metabolism of, and there's a new type of molecule. And you'll see that here throughout the list. So from the top, PDF number one, PDF file number one is from session 2 and it's called Introduction to Metabolism. So one of the topics, the first subtopic is metabolic overview in the liver, and then metabolic overview in muscles. And we have 3 types of metabolism. Metabolism of carbohydrates, metabolism of F acids, and over here to the right, I have written a key of what is what are some of the shorthand abbreviations or my own notations that I use. So we'll encounter that later. So there's that. We'll copy that over here so that it makes sense. But it's the exact same thing. Whoops, what happened? There we go. So an A acid is an amino acid. F acid is fatty acid, and N acid is nucleic acid. So here, the topic covered is metabolism of F acids. Next, within PDF file number 1, you have metabolism of nitrogen. Moving on, this is now PDF number 2, metabolism that is yes aerobic as compared to not aerobic, otherwise known as anaerobic. And looking ahead, it doesn't look like we cover anaerobic, so here we go. The first subtopic within PDF file number 2 is overview of yes aerobic metabolism, and then we cover pyrudihy, and that's shorthand for pyruvate dehydrogenase, and a lot of times I'll also see it as just PD, the letter P and the letter D, pyruvate dehydrogenase. Next we have the citric acid cycle, followed by redox, and definitions, the subtopic, it's called definitions related to redox. And then we have redox reaction. So this is something I definitely am rusty on, and I'll be brushing up on this for sure. And next up is the proton pump, followed by electrogenic transport, and then OXPHO, which is my shorthand for oxidative phosphorylation, OXPHO. Moving on to PDF number 3, it's titled Endocrine Pancreas, Hormone Synthesis, and Neoplasms. The first subtopic is insulin, and my shorthand notation for that is INSU. Just the first 4 words, so I'll copy that here. INSU is insulin. So the second, that first topic, that first subtopic again is chemistry and biosynthesis, followed by glucagon biosynthesis. And I just left the space here for the sake of having these 2 words right on top of each other so I can better contrast what is being discussed. So with glucagon, there is no emphasis on its chemistry, just on its biosynthesis. Then we have insulin glucagon, the control of pancreatic insulin, and the control of glucagon secretion. After that, we have pancreatic endocrine, neoplasm. So neoplasms of of the pancreas. Now, PDF number 4 is, and before we do that, I for the sake of jumping right um, into stuff related to the exam, we didn't do medical terminology word of the day. Here you go, medical terminology of the day. Here we go. This one seems better. Where is it? Um, Maybe that's not a good one. Let's just go here, back to Dorland's. So, Dorland's word of the day is megacalicosis, which is this. This is the definition, something, dilation, renal, calluses. Cool. So, has to do with kidneys. So, something kidneys, megacalicosis. Non-obstructive dilation of the renal calyces. Okay, so calicosis has to do with calyx, or the plural form is calyces. All right, moving on. So, resuming things back on PDF file number 4, this one is about insulin action. The first subtopic is overview of insu action, otherwise known or without notations, without shorthand notation, insulin action overview, and then insu receptor, followed by insu signal transduction, and then DMEL. DMEL stands for diabetes mellitus. So next is metabolic susceptibility, metabolic syndrome, and insulin resistance. That will probably be a very major topic. And then DMEL2, diabetes mellitus 2, type 2 mixed diabetes, the not adequate secretion of insulin, inadequate secretion of insulin. Moving on to PDF number 5, blood glucose homeostasis. You have an introduction, and then another subtopic by the same title as the PDF, blood glucose homeostasis, followed by transition. So the transition from not starvation to yes starvation, and the starvation that we're talking about is starvation which is prolonged, and the topic being addressed here is integration of fuel utilization. After that, we have metabolism of ketones. Cool, yeah, that makes sense. Ketoacidosis. I'm sure that's part of what will be covered in that section, or in that PDF number 5. Moving on to number 6. Let's erase some of these. So, seems like it's a short one. It's called glycogen storage disease. So, for me, G-gen is glycogen, and it's like this because there's some other topics I haven't stumbled upon them, but they will be relevant, and it helps to keep track of the wording because it can be confusing. A lot of wording in chemistry and biology also. A lot of wording tends to be kind of confusing. So when it comes to glycogen pathways, that's being addressed. That topic is being addressed here. And then you have something called GSD, glycogen storage diseases. Moving on to topic number 7, or PDF number 7, Seems to be a lot of stuff there, a lot of subtopics. It's called cholesterol processing and lipid transport. So we are giving an overview, and then we talk about a nutritional correlate. Dietary fatty acids influence cholesterol metabolism. Next, cholesterol synthesis, and then cholesterol utilization. And within that subtopic, we also talk about metabolism of cholesterol. And then we talk about the removal of cholesterol from cells by HDL, followed by factors influencing cholesterol balance inside cells. Next is therapies for treating hypercholesterolemia. Next is lipid proteins. So that's where these two words get combined, lipid proteins. So we talk about their composition and their assembly. Next is endogenous pathway of lipid lipid protein transport, which and under that same subtopic we talk about the metabolism of lipid proteins. PDF number 8 also seems to be short, but that might just be deceiving based on the number of subtopics. So number 8 is about disorders of lipid digestion and lipid transport. So we have hypolipidemia, lipodemia, and then hyperlipidemia. This these double these two P's are here on purpose, just so we can make the other words align also right here, and we can possibly increase our chances of seeing the similarities between the two concepts. So hypo with two P's, and then hyper lipidemia. Lipidemia. So PDF number 9 is about lysosome storage disease. So an L-some is a lysosome, and here are the other types of organelles that we can talk about. But in this case, we're just talking about L-somes, lysosomes. So we have S-lipid, which is a sphingolipid, and then glycosphingolipids, and then we have sphingolipids again, but here it talks about degradation of sphingolipids, and then we have something called sphingolipidosis and something called mucopolysaccharidosis. Mucopolysaccharidosis. And for some reason it says that this is not in the objectives for testing. So I have to ask what that means, if it will, maybe it will or will not be covered in the exam. That is a pending question. So number 10 is called peptide and hormone signals for satiety. And then also it's called those same peptide and hormone signals. Those signals are involved in hunger. So the first subtopic is an introduction, followed by neural regulatory centers for control of food intake. After that is mechanisms regulating feeding behavior, followed by effectors of food intake. After that is regulation of lipid lysis, and next is effectors of food intake. Yes, this is repeated, but doesn't seem to be a big deal. The next is control of body weight, followed by this system of leptin and leptin receptor. Finally, we address regulation of the adipocyte, and I'm pretty sure that is a fat cell. So there you have it. an overview of what will be covered for the midterm, and that covers this, how many? 10, these 10 PDF files.